Okay, hello YouTube, it's me again, and today I'll be reviewing the A&K M249 PARA. So first of all, I'm going to try to make this a very complete review. So please watch the video before you ask any questions. So if you want to buy this gun on the internet, well, just do a small Google search. And if you have like no idea where to buy airsoft guns, it's probably because you are new to airsoft, and I don't think you're watching the good airsoft review right now, because the A&K M249, I'll tell you right now, is not a beginner's gun. So now, I'll start with the gun itself and the build quality. As you may have noticed, mine has a custom worn job done to the body. So yours won't come with the custom worn job on the body. It's going to come all black, all clean. But I'm quite happy with my worn job, and I like it that way. So also, as you probably have noticed if you are interested in buying this gun, is that it's full metal, and it's not just your basic Chinese pot metal gun. It's most likely that everything that is metal is made out of steel, except for some minor things that I'll talk to you about later. So right now you might wonder why it's disassembled like that, and I'll tell you why. It's because with only one hand, with the camera on the other hand, it's hard to do a review showing all the features of that gun. So I disassembled it already to show you most of the features. So first of all, as I said, it's full metal. The parts that are steel, this part here of the stock and the shoulder loop here, I'll talk to you about that later. This part of the stock, like the stock mechanism, is also steel, but this part is just a big chunk of pot metal, which is unfortunate, but since it's that big, it's really solid. I mean, it won't break. Those two sliding bars from the stock, they are aluminum, so they are still solid. The whole frame here, the whole lower body is entirely made out of steel. The trigger guard, the grip is plastic, but it's some really good, really solid plastic. It's big plastic. I mean, it will never break. And because the gearbox design, the motor is not in the grip, so the plastic is really thick. So yeah, the only parts in fact that are not steel is the sliding bars of the stock, this part here, and the top cover. And the rear sight is steel, and all the body pins are steel. So the outer barrel is made out of aluminum for this part, but this part here is steel. The carry handle is steel. Flash hider, fake gas regulator is steel. Front sight is steel. And most of the bipod is steel, but I'll talk about that later. Now, one of the features of the M249 PARA is the retractable stock. How it works is, right now it's extended, as you might have guessed. To pull it inside, you simply pull, twist it on either side, and push it inside, like that. So to take it out, it's just pull it and twist it. So once that's done, you have your folding stock. So that's one of the features. Another one of the features is on the other side, this thing here. You can unscrew this part, push the pin out, and take the stock off like that. If you want to take the stock completely off and access the gearbox, simply have to push this pin here and unscrew those two Allen screws here, those two ones, and this one, and slide the gearbox out. But I'll talk about that later. Oh yeah, and by the way, the rear sight is adjustable for windage and elevation. It has nice markings, and it clicks nicely in place. Oh, by the way, sorry for my thumb, it's just some hammering gone wrong. So yeah, the M249 PARA also features a railed top cover. If you want to add any optics, it's a standard 20mm rail. To open the top cover, you simply push the two pins outside of the top cover in the rear and pull it up. One of the features of this gun is the quick spring change. It's easy to do. You simply lift this button up here. So you have to push the spring guide inside and lift this button here, and the spring guide will come out. So yeah, your spring, simply have to take it with your fingers. You know, it's just easy. You just have to always lift the button here. So I'll put it back in. Right now I have a M100 spring, which gives me about 320 feet per second. So yeah, also the gearbox is a full metal gearbox. The gearbox is a M249 special gearbox. Since this gun is a Classic Army clone, the gun takes all the upgrades the Classic Army gearbox takes. And this gearbox features 8mm metal ball bearing bushings, reinforced gears, and your standard crappy Chinese piston head and all that other stuff. So it's a pretty decent gearbox. The only thing that you really might want to change is the motor, because it's not a really good motor. It's a short type motor. And yeah, the gearbox is full metal, of course. And that's about it for the gearbox. This is also rebranded as the Echo One M249. And I think Echo One actually changes the spring for like a 350 feet per second spring. But most of the A&K M249s, they come with like a 400 feet per second spring. So you might want to change that if you really want to use it as a support weapon. Another thing inside of the top cover is this part here. That part that's gray and that is taped. I taped it because it moved a lot before I taped it. It's just the part on which you might want to put some fake bullets here, like a chain of fake bullets. You might want to attach it to those two pins. Here there shall be the hop-up unit, which I'll show you later. In fact, I'm just going to show it right now. The barrel is 350mm long, and the hop-up unit is pretty bad. It wasn't very responsive, so I modified the hop-up knob and put a new bucking in it, and right now it's a really good hop-up right now. But I mean, that's another thing you might want to change to make it a usable gun. Another thing I forgot to say is that the trigger switch, just check on the internet how it's made, because I don't really have the time right now, but it's a really stupid design, and that's also another thing you might want to repair once you get the gun, if you want to make it a usable gun. Yeah, another thing that you might want to change when you get the gun is the bipod, because the bipod, excuse me, even if it's steel, I mean the two legs, you can extend it by pushing this button here and pulling the leg on both sides. Even if the bipod, the legs are steel, this part here is some cheap pot metal. As well, as you can see here, the silver part, that's not part of my custom worn job. It's just that since it's crappy pot metal, it chipped off under the weight of the gun. So right now the bipod is unusable since it wobbles in every direction. So you might want to get a replacement one once yours break. I highly suggest the GNP steel bipod, because the design is much better and it's much more solid.